Dark Histories has always held a flame for the Knights Templar and their adventures. The fact that they were so shrouded in mystery has always had people flocking to understand them better. Filthy rich by even modern standards, the question that has lingered, what happened to that wealth of theirs? And everyone loves a good treasure hunt. The Templars evolved from a small, ragtag order of devout warriors and bodyguards, to one of the most powerful organizations on earth. Known unofficially as the Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ, the order had become a huge, highly profitable business organization with its own navy, vast amounts of land with farms, vineyards and mills. They would become known for creating an early banking network which stretched from Europe to the Middle East. This was especially effective for those visiting the Holy Land. They could deposit their money with one Templar house in Europe and receive a letter of credit which would let them withdraw their funds at another branch in the Middle East. How these letters of credit worked remains a mystery, but they were clearly effective, and it's likely the letters contained secret ciphers that only Templars could understand, in order to prove their authenticity. The order made additional income from captured treasure and from massive donations given by patrons who wanted to confirm their Christian credentials. The Templars used their banking systems for the richest and most powerful people in Christendom. Royals would deposit their wealth in Templar coffers, and they would use Templars as their intermediaries when purchasing land. For example, England's Henry III bought an island off the coast of France by sending the money through his Templar contact. It's also been speculated the Templars had their sights on ancient treasures in the Holy Land, and they are known to have excavated under the Al-Aqsa Mosque in search of the Ark of the Covenant and the Spear of Destiny. We don't know what they found, but clearly treasures and relics were accumulated. The order's first base was the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, which had been captured and repurposed by the Crusaders. This building is located on the Temple Mount, where King Solomon's temple once stood, and it's said the Templars dug beneath the mosque on the hunt for long-lost Christian relics like the Spear of Destiny and the Ark of the Covenant. But all this power and wealth came to a brutal end in 1307. Philip IV of France, who was in debt to the Templars, used rumors circulated of the order conducting secret, diabolical rituals, engaging in homosexuality, and praying to idols as an excuse to crack down on the order and thereby avoid repayment and potentially make a nice clean profit. Mass arrests and executions of Templars across France and the rest of Europe followed, with the entire organization being abolished several years later. The big mystery that surrounds this time and the horror of the crackdown: what became of the money and mythical treasures of the Templars? No doubt most of it was carved up between the various kingdoms, the church and of course the Hospitallers. Dark Histories is sure that these entities were exceptionally effective in staking their claim and that the money would have melted away. But given the size of the Templars, there would have been physical treasure and prized possessions that were hidden and moved around. This would have formed the basis of the infamous Templar treasure. There are a vast number of theories relating to the whereabouts of the treasure. But what is known from the testimony of Templar brother, Jean de Chalon, was that 50 horse carts carrying gold and silver, led by preceptor of the French Templars, Gerard de Villiers, set out from Paris. They were loaded onto 18 galleys which left the port city of La Rochelle. But where did they go? One particularly fun theory is that they found asylum in Scotland and that these escaping Templars may have helped Robert the Bruce beat the English forces in the Battle of Bannockburn in 1314. It's even been suggested that descendants of the Templar settlers in Scotland eventually sailed to the New World, taking their treasure to Oak Island, Nova Scotia, where it was buried in the notorious Money Pit. Some recent discoveries have unearthed some items that appear to be related to the Templars, for example an old sword, a small cross and a cross engraved into a stone. It's most likely these items were deposited by other visitors who had acquired these artifacts over time. Due to their fame and size, Templar artifacts were found in the collections of relic hunters and thieves going back hundreds of years. Their existence in a location doesn't immediately point to the Templars having been there. Sean Martin, author of the Knights Templar, puts it, How many Templar ships sailed from La Rochelle in the autumn of 1307 is unknown, what they were carrying likewise, but one thing is known: the Templar fleet vanished utterly. Dark Histories believes that it's a little simpler than all the Indiana Jones type scenarios. You see, the Templars re-emerged in 1320, reincarnated as the Order of Christ, but now under the control of the Portuguese throne. Simply put, we believe that those 18 ships sailed south and landed in Lisbon. The treasures were then taken north up the Tagus River on barges before landing near Tomar Castle and establishing the Convento de Cristo. This would become their Portuguese headquarters and last stronghold of the Templar in Europe. King Dinas persuaded Pope John XXII, in 1319, to allow the fugitive Templars to join the newly created Order of Christ. We believe he did this because he was paid by the Templar to do so. They bought their safety in Portugal using their treasure. Given the situation they were facing, no amount would have been too much to start again in relative safety. Not only that, but this money was also used to fund the Portuguese Golden Age of discovery, something that had not been possible till then. Some of the most renowned Portuguese navigators were associated with the Order of Christ and received training at the Sagres Expeditionary Center, that was established using Templar money. Namely Vasco da Gama, Pedro Álvares Cabral, Bartolomeu Dias, Gilles, Christopher Columbus and Ferdinand Magellan, who reached all corners of the world, taking with them the Templar teachings. The Order's proud symbol, the Cross of Christ, became the distinguished banner for the country's great age of exploration and discovery and was even featured on the flag of Madeira and its coat of arms, as well as the Azores coat of arms. During the 13th to the 17th century, the Convento de Cristo underwent a continuous expansion to become the center of international exploration and the incredible monument it is today. It's important to note that the Knights would have had to fund all this, and they no longer had their holdings and connections. Clearly wealth had been bought into the country, but how? The treasure perhaps? The treasure was measurable when it left Paris and so not unlimited. It stands to reason that at some stage it would have run out. Mysteries tend to imply that treasure is limitless and so not merely absorbed into day-to-day costs. Dark Histories believes that sadly there is no massive hidden booty, merely a pile of expenses incurred in their need to stay relevant and to improve the fortunes of their new hosts. Thank you for watching. Please drop a like and subscribe. We need your support and your comments.